Ever get into those late night conversations?
Yeah.
You know, the ones that start normal and then someone brings up like, "What if this happened?"
Oh, yeah.
And then the whole thing just spirals. Well, today we're kind of doing that, going down a rabbit hole.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. We're tackling a topic you guys specifically requested, a magnitude 15 earthquake. I got to admit, when I first saw this, my brain went straight to like Roland Emmerich disaster movie territory.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Those big budget disaster films, they kind of tap into our primal fears of the unknown. But in terms of actual earthquakes, a magnitude 15, that's a whole other level of impossible. Even Hollywood might struggle with that one.
So you're already saying it's impossible, and we're just getting started.
Pretty much.
Okay, so before we get too deep into the why nots, the source material, this excerpt we're looking at, it's titled Wicklajoni Text, and it throws out a number that's, well, it's mind-blowing. They say a magnitude 15 earthquake, it would unleash 10 trillion times more energy than a magnitude 7.
Yeah, and to be clear, a magnitude 7 earthquake is no joke. You know, like the one that hit Nepal back in 2015, magnitude 7.8.
Yeah, I remember that one.
That thing released energy equivalent to like 1,000 Hiroshima atomic bombs. 1,000. So try to wrap your head around multiplying that by 31, then again and again. For each step, you go up the magnitude scale. By the time you hit 15, it's just, well, there are no words.
Yeah, okay. I mean, even for someone like me who, like, geeks out on this kind of stuff, that's
Yeah.
hard to grasp. So break it down for us. Why is a magnitude 15 impossible? I mean, Earth's a pretty big, powerful planet.
Right, but it's not about size, it's about structure. The Earth's tectonic plates, these massive slabs of rock that make up the crust, they simply can't store and release that much energy at once. To get a magnitude 15, you'd need a single fault line, you know, those cracks where the plates meet, to rupture almost the entire circumference of the planet, and the longest fault lines we know of. They're only about 1,000 miles long max.
So it's not just about the energy itself, but the actual physical setup of our planet wouldn't allow for it.
Exactly. Plus, there's the stress factor, the amount of stress needed to cause that kind of global rupture. It just doesn't exist in the Earth's crust. It's like, imagine trying to snap a twig by pulling on both ends. Eventually it'll break. But try doing that with a giant tree trunk. Ain't gonna happen.
All right, reality check complete.
Yeah.
But you know how we roll on this show. We love pushing boundaries, exploring the what-ifs. So for the sake of this deep dive, let's just pretend, just for fun, that a magnitude 15 DID happened. Paint us a picture. What kind of world-altering effects are we talking about?
Okay, so buckle up because we're entering pure speculation territory here. We're talking entire continents reshaped, like picture mountain ranges shooting up where plains used to be, valleys sinking into massive chasms, coastlines, they vanish as the land itself gets rearranged.
And the oceans, oh man, I can't even fathom what a magnitude 15 would do to them. I mean, we already see the devastating effects of tsunamis from, much smaller quakes.
This would be like nothing humanity has ever seen. We'd be talking tsunamis thousands of feet high, sweeping across entire continents, engulfing cities, just redrawing the map as we know it. It's almost, I don't know, Lovecraftian in its scale, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of scale, this earthquake itself, it wouldn't be a one-and-done event, right?
Not a chance. Those initial shockwaves, they'd trigger every single fault line on Earth, basically setting off this chain reaction of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. And it could last for weeks, maybe even months. The entire planet would be in a constant state of upheaval.
The source material mentions something about global firestorms.
Yeah!
Which, that just sounds terrifying.
So picture this. The ground shaking so violently that forests are just uprooted, cities are crumbling, gas lines everywhere are rupturing, sparking fires. And these fires, they'd merge into these massive, uncontrollable infernos, basically engulfing everything. And then the smoke and ash from these fires, that would blanket the atmosphere, potentially blocking out the sun, leading to a rapid drop in global temperatures. It'd create what's often called a nuclear winter effect.
Wow, okay. So not only are we dealing with, like, the ground literally rearranging itself, but also firestorms and then a potential ice age on top of that.
Yeah, it's pretty bleak.
It really makes you think, how could any civilization withstand this? Like, could anything survive?
Survival, it would be a monumental challenge. We're not even talking about like infrastructure, communication networks. At that point, those would be completely gone. Forget electricity, forget the internet, forget phones. Access to basic needs like food, water, shelter, gone. It'd be cut off for vast populations.
Yeah.
It really puts things in perspective. It shows just how fragile our existence is in the face of, nature's raw power.
So this whole thought experiment, as terrifying as it is It does force us to confront some big questions, doesn't it? Like, what does this tell us about our vulnerability to natural disasters, even on a much smaller scale? Because obviously this is extreme.
Absolutely. It shows how interconnected everything is, how one event can ripple out and impact the entire planet. A magnitude 15 earthquake might be impossible, but the potential for other large-scale disasters, from supervolcanoes, asteroid impacts, those are very real.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thinking about a magnitude 15 almost makes it feel like a stand-in for any number of existential threats out there.
Exactly. It's a reminder that there are forces beyond our control, forces we can't ignore.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the impossible, into the realm of what if, here's a final thought for you guys to chew on. If a magnitude 15 earthquake could happen, what steps, even hypothetically, could we as a species take to prepare? I know it's a wild question, but maybe grappling with these extreme scenarios, these what ifs, maybe that can push us to think differently about disaster preparedness, about resilience, even on a smaller, more realistic scale.
I think that's a great point. It definitely makes you think about things like building more resilient infrastructure, better early warning systems, stronger global cooperation. And these are things that are, beneficial even outside of these doomsday scenarios.
Lots to think about, right?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us on this journey, this trip to the edge of the unimaginable. And keep those what if questions coming. We'll be back next week to dive into something else completely mind-blowing.
Looking forward to it.
Till then.